Guys, how's it going? It's Al. Welcome to the Week 5 on DraftKings Lineup Builder Show, where I take Qs and As. Well, I take the Qs and I give the As to the chat here on Twitch every single Friday. I'm going to be here for the next, 40, 60 minutes answering questions from my Twitch chat on cash games, tournaments, specific ranges, value plays, where to spend up, stacks, anything else. We're also going to take a look over at Underdog and build a pick'em. We're going to take a look over at the solver to try and see what the sim's like this week. You can get an account over there at the solver. Use my code or my link, smizzle.tv/solver. If you want the cheat sheet, which by the time this video is on YouTube, the cheat sheet is live in Discord. Go join the Smizz Gang Discord at smizzle.tv/discord. Make sure that you're a channel member here on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch, smizzle.tv/join. It is $5 a month. Then you just got to link your Discord to your site that you paid on, and boom, you will have access to the Week 5 cheat sheet. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
The Smizz Gang Listener League for Week 5 is posted. $10 to enter, 3 max, 0 rake. $45,000 in the prize pool, $45,000 getting paid out. You cannot find this game in the DraftKings lobby. You got to go through my link. Find the link tree at smizzle.tv/links. Join the Listener League today. The link for the Discord's in there. My Instagram, TikTok, fantasy football channel, which is my second channel here on YouTube, where I shout out the top 10 finishers in the Listener League every single week, as well as highlight how I did the previous week, like breaking down the cheat sheet from the Discord, where I was right, where I was wrong, where I was lucky, where I was unlucky, looking at my cash game lineup, my tournament lineups, high stakes, Underdog fantasy, everything else right there on the fantasy football channel. So go to the link tree, smizzle.tv/links, and jump in the Listener League today. Let's bring in the chat. Let's see what they have. They're all dino dancing. There's a bunch of dino dancing going on. Somebody, I can't with the dinos. The dinos are just too good. If ASB doesn't play, should we cut down our golf stacks? Maybe. I think that's a possibility because they would probably go to a more run heavy situation because of the fact. All right, you guys are nuts. You guys are absurd. I can't even with the dinos right now. So let's go over to Detroit. They play Carolina, which is already a defense that we can exploit with opposing running backs, right? They just get gashed. They're like giving up the third most DraftKings points per game to opposing running backs. David Montgomery probably going to get a heavy dose, even with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown, for those of you who do not know yet, he's been dealing with an abdominal injury and has missed all 3 practices. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday, I kind of like give a little, okay, I'm paying attention over there. Thursday, my ears kind of perk up a little bit. Friday is really the important practice because typically speaking, but not 100% of the time, if they don't practice on Friday, especially after not practicing on Wednesday and Thursday, players just typically don't play on Sunday. He might play. He might be limited. He might re-aggravate it. A lot of question marks. We'll find out, they said, in the next 24 hours whether or not he goes. So set up your if-then statements. If Amon-Ra St. Brown does not play, what do you think is going to be the thing that happens in this game? Do you think that they're going to run offense as usual? Josh Reynolds is a professional wide receiver, but does not win in the same ways or in the same parts of the field as Amon-Ra St. Brown does. Targets are earned, they are not given. So it's not like, well, Amon-Ra St. Brown has 34 targets so far through 4 weeks. So clearly somebody is just going to get 8 or 9 targets in his stead. Well, maybe, maybe not. They may change their entire game plan. You know that Dan Campbell is sitting there salivating over the fact that he could probably just give the ball to Dave Montgomery 35 times on the ground, probably also give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs another 10 times on the ground, maybe throw them some screen plays, run a ton of off guard left and right, because that's where they really make all their money, and not have Jared Goff throw it more than 25 times. I think that's got Dan Campbell giddy. I really do. I think that he's just sitting at home like, I wish we had Amon-Ra St. Brown this week. He's a really good player. Ooh, we could run the ball so much. We could bite so many ankles this weekend. Like, I could see him just salivating over the fact that he won't have to drop back. So if they play from ahead, if this Carolina offense turns the ball over a little bit, if they put Detroit into a game script, not unlike the Bears last night when the Bears were up a ton early. I could certainly see that team going super run heavy. The only way they wouldn't is if Carolina keeps this very close and makes them keep their foot on the pedal, or Carolina plays from ahead in this game, which going to be tough to do with Aiden Hutchinson like leading the league in pressures, the defense playing exceptionally well right now, and Carolina dealing with some of the injuries that they're dealing with, specifically at running back. Biggest injury to monitor is keep an eye on Miles Sanders' groin. Is probably the most awkward thing I've said on stream this year, but that's kind of what you have to do. Because if he does not play, if he does play, we saw last week that he was not effective, right? It's not like he's been very effective running the football because this offensive line is not great anyway, but he's been very effective at getting targeted. 13 targets last week against Minnesota, was not effective with any of them, and Chuba Hubbard saw more opportunities in that game because of how hobbled he was. I would prefer that he just be out Miles Sanders, give him time to recover, and just run Chuba Hubbard out there at 4,500, which would at least, even though it's a terrible matchup, would put us in position for some extreme value at the running back position. Let's bring chat back in here. Is it crazy to play Monty and Gibbs together in a small field? I probably would not do that. 3 running backs in cash this week. Yeah, it's a shorter slate. And I don't know how many of you guys read the Win the Weekend article that comes out. I always do this. It's not a conglomerate article. It's a ensemble piece. There you go. It's an ensemble article with basically everybody that's over at ESPN. And they have me write a little paragraph on daily fantasy. And like this week, I focused on all the running back plays that are out there. For those of you who are wondering, by the way, we do a fundraiser every year for No Kid Hungry. There's the latest donations. You can see Sonic Librarian up there, who donated like $1,000. He had a massive week last week, won over $100,000 on FanDuel. He donated $1,000. If you had some good weeks so far, the QR code right down there will take you to the Tiltify page. Every donation is 100% tax deductible. We are approaching $200,000 raised as a community. When we get to $220,000 raised as a community, I will cap it and donate $30,000 myself and get it up to $250K as a community raised for No Kid Hungry, providing school lunches and breakfasts for food insecure kids all across America. So great charity. We've supported it for multiple years. There's a QR code. Use it. Take a picture of it on your phone. Take a picture now. Open your phone and you can just donate money. It'll be great. Does not go to me. That goes straight to the charity and 100% tax deductible. They'll send you like an email from Tiltify. Would I ever play double stacks with a double bring back? Too much for one game. No, it's possible. It just makes it thinner. It is a shorter slate. Okay, it's definitely a shorter slate. There are a lot of teams on bye week, many teams on bye week. And because there's that many teams on bye week, we're left with 10 games. Those 10 games are pretty all right. You know, we have some high totals. We have some spots that we can get to. I do think that this is particularly a slate where you have to have PMR, player minutes remaining. So this feels like a PMR week. I don't care if you're in first place after the witching hour. Unless you have 300 points and you hit everything and it was all like off the reservation stuff, some sub 5%, sub 10% guys go completely nuts. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to withstand all the players that are coming late. Taking a quick look at the slate and the spreads, you have Carolina and Detroit, 44 here, favored by 10. So let's say 22 plus 5. Detroit is what, a 27 total? You've got the Steelers against the Ravens, 38 total. Texans and Falcons, 41 total. And there's some plays in these games that we certainly do like, right? We mentioned Montgomery and Detroit. Bijan on Atlanta, fantastic play just on volume alone. The wide receivers on the Texans also solid plays, both Tank and Nico. Solid plays this week. Indianapolis Colts, 2.5 point dogs at home against Tennessee and their pass funnel. The Saints going against New England. Gross, 39 points there. Philly and the Rams, very fast-paced game. Rams getting Cooper Kupp back this week. For how many snaps, we don't know, but they said he's going to play. I'm not going to listen to anything Sean McVay says there. For those of you who do not know the theme of how we do this, I don't trust Sean McVay at all. Anything he says, I don't listen, ever. Okay, I'll believe what he does. I'm not going to believe what he says. The Bengals against Arizona, 44. Whole lot of value in this game. 1, because of the Higgins injury on Cincinnati, and 2, because Arizona's players are just too cheap across the board based on the volume that they've been getting. Connor at running back, Marquise Brown, Michael Wilson, Zach Ertz, all of them extremely cheap, and Dobbs the cheapest quarterback option. The Chiefs against the Vikings, 53. Everybody's going to try and get their hooks into this game. 53, spread of 3.5. Vikings can't stop anything. Climate controlled game. Now we're into the afternoons. Bengals, Arizona, Chiefs, Vikings, Jets, Broncos, 2 terrible defenses with attackable spots. And then that's it. This is, somebody asked, why is Pollard not a play? Pollard's not a play because he's not on the slate. That's why. He's not playing. Is it a Kelsey and cash week? You can get there. You can definitely get there. You know, you can 100% get there. I don't see who chat is putting in these polls to win them, but put it in the mods channel so that I can tell YouTube who chat says is the go-to spots for us, because that would be great, so that I can highlight the cash game, you know, chat's polled cash game core. Do I think it's a running back in flex week? I think that's just fine. Somebody has to remember. Chat can tell me who it was. Would I trust Jonnu Smith? Trust is a strong word. Was he miraged last week? It's not about last week with Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith has been getting more targets all year than Kyle Pitts, and like has more catches, and they just hit him more. Who's AR 13? You mean AR 15? Is it an Ayuk or a Debo week? Don't know. It's on Sunday night. Haven't even thought about the Sunday night game. Like, not even a little bit. Do I like Watson or Rice in a GPP for a double stack? I prefer Rice, but he's going to be higher played. 150 Mahomes stacks. So depending on the tournament that you're playing, you have to be willing to do different things. I'm going to go over and take a look at the solver. So let's head over to the solver. And if you do not have an account over at the solver, you can use my link at smizzle.tv/solver. There is currently no discount. It is an extremely popular site. They do not have a discount. There may be a discount coming soon. If there is, I will make you aware of it ASAP. It'll probably come with a promo code like SmizzGang or something, or Smizzle. I don't know what it is yet. So there's no promo code yet. But if you don't have an account and you wanted to support the stream, use smizzle.tv/solver. They have the ETR projections loaded in this. We've cut it down. Chat wanted me to cut it down to a certain amount of quarterbacks for this one. It builds lineups just like every other lineup builder that you have, based on the variations and the rules and the variants and the, you know, whatever large field or small field percentages that you have in there. Really solid lineup builder. As I said, as I've always said, it's about the projections you put in and the rules that you set, and it's a computer. It's going to do things like you want. However, they have this simulator now. So we ran this through a simulator for the $9 slant. And this is what it believes are the best lineups based on the field that you're playing in the slant that would give you the highest ROI per lineup. This is factoring in a whole lot of things like the percentage owned for the player, the leverage they have over the field. You can see the average ROI per player over here. It has Puka Nacua as the highest leverage play, but he's only in 2% of the lineups. So that is kind of a result of how many he's in. The higher percentage that a player is held, the lower their ROI is going to go. But you can see that right now, based on the quarterbacks that we've chosen, it put a whole lot of 14% Daniel Jones, 1% Stafford, a whole lot of Mahomes, Cousins, Zach Wilson, Burrow, Hurts, Richardson, Tua, and it grades these as the highest leverage lineups right now. You can run these based on the lineups you build for any field that's out there. They have this whole slate of fields: the slant, the fair catch, red zone, depending on where you are. If you play more single entry, you might want to run it through spy. If you play smaller field entry, you might want to run it through something like I run it through, like the double spy. Same lineups, it's going to calculate different ROIs because single entry and smaller field is going to play differently than something like larger field like the slant or the millionaire maker does. Takes a couple minutes to spit out the results for you. You can then sort by your cash percentage, but that's not what I sort by. I tend to sort by the ROI expected from those lineups. And you're going to see that they're going to be lower for single entry, even with the same lineups being used. Single entry, it's preferring Mahomes lineups. Larger field, it wants to get further away from where it is. So go check out the tools that they have over there at The Solver, run by the folks at Establish the Run. Smizzle.tv/solver will take you over there if you wanted to play around with a brand new lineup builder and the Sims. and not like the little people that walk around going, no, like actual simulations. Because everything that I've done for years has been to try and explain to you how to do this. And now the Sims are doing that. And it's going to be done better and faster than I can do it in my brain. Because typically the way that you're building lineups when you try to leverage the field is to try to say, okay, I want to get this thing that other people aren't doing, right? If you can play chalk, you can play a guy who's 20% played as long as you're wrapping other plays around it that are going to differentiate. And the simplest way that I've always put it is you need to isolate for the probability at the top 10% of their bell curve. Let's say, again, using DJ Moore or Justin Fields from last night on Thursday night. Thank you, UNC. Where, okay, DJ Moore gets a 50-point game if and Justin Fields scores 30 plus DraftKings points. What percentage of the time was that what was the probability of that, and what percentage of the field was going to play that combination of players? And if the combination of players is lower than the projectable ceiling for those players in terms of probability of time that it's going to happen, then you want to overweight the field on that action so that you can stack that advantage. Same thing at running back. Same thing is why we do the 5 under 5 video. It's why we do everything else. So the solver and the Sims give you a better way to do that, where you can build 150 lineups with one quarterback and see what are the best iterations for that double stack or single stack or whatever, and help you build better lineups. But it's, again, like every lineup builder or every tool, it's not as simple. Okay, I'm going to run it, and then guess what? I just printed $1 million. No, it doesn't work that way. It's a tool to help you. We have the cash game lineup. All right, let's get to chat's cash game core. I was told it is in the mods channel, but Discord is being slow for me to get to the mods channel. Let's see. What do we got? Okay, so this is what chat says. Chat has chosen from the polls that they were given for the quarterbacks that are in play. Now, this is not necessarily what is going to be on the cheat sheet. Chat has no idea what's on the cheat sheet yet. It doesn't come out till after I record this show. But chat, when given a poll of the top 5 projected ownership players at each position, chat has chosen Tua Tagovailoa as their cash game quarterback at 7,100 up against the New York Giants. A lot of people are going to be going with Devon Achane this week. A lot of people are going to be trying to ride the Miami Dolphins offense this week. They have a ridiculously high team total, and that's kind of one of the things you want to attack. Quarterback efficiency, not volume, is the thing that leads to quarterback scoring. A quarterback can get you 25 to 30 DraftKings points on 20 attempts, like we've seen happen in the past, where they just throw for 4 touchdowns in the first half, 270 yards. That gets you there in the cash games. They have chosen Tua as their cash game guy. At running back, chat pivoting, I guess, to David Montgomery because of, I think this is reaction to the ARSB news, and it's a rightful reaction. There's a lot of plays at running back. We'll go over them just a little bit. As I mentioned earlier on the Win the Weekend article, I kind of highlighted like 10 running backs, and I never do that. There's so many running backs specifically for a short slate. A lot of 5-box guys as well that check off all the 5 boxes for us. Dave Montgomery, tons of volume, playing at home, favored, terrible opponent versus the run. They were last year. They were the year before. They still are that this year. David Montgomery is the cash game running back for chat when polled. At wide receiver, screw value. They just want to pay up. Give them Justin Jefferson. I do think that Justin Jefferson is viable in cash. I think he's not the first guy I'm going to plug in cash, but if I can get there, I'm clearly going to go that route. And I think that there's enough value at wide receiver and at running back that if you wanted to have Justin Jefferson in your cash game with him averaging 28.3 fantasy points per game on DraftKings, his low game was 9 targets, but 2 of them ended up being touchdowns. Like, he's the CMC of wide receivers at this point. They're plugging him in there. And then at tight end, chat shows... Where is he? Sam Laporta at 5K. Love the routes he's running. And again, if ARSB is out, that's going to increase the amount of targets and sprinkle them on all the other players around that offense. Even if he only throws it, Goff, 25 to 30 times, Sam Laporta could see a 25+% market share at 5K. They have him, and apparently he narrowly edged out Zach Ertz against Cincinnati, who has been fantastic from a volume perspective. 3 of the 4 games over 8 targets. So that was the other guy if you don't want to have 2 Lions in your cash game lineup. That was the way that that chat sees it. See, and chat's arguing now. I prefer Ertz for volume. Only Demond is a cash game play. No, I think they're fine. I think that there's value. One, I think there's value at wide receiver. There's always value at tight end, right? There's always value at tight end. And if you're playing tight end, I don't think cash games is going to be about this mid-range personally, right? I think that it's either here, you're going to have enough money to go up to Travis Kelce, right? And you're just going to use that, or you're not going to have enough and you're going to live down in this range, which is where we live every week with guys like Zach Ertz and the volume he gets, getting you enough points at tight end to make it worthwhile. If you wanted Chigo Okonkwo against Indy, like less volume that you can see, 2, 4, 4, 3 targets for him. Granson has been very solid, 4, 4, 6, 5 targets for him incoming. Durham Smythe in that 4 target range, and then Jonnu Smith going up against Houston, 6, 8, 6 targets the last 3 weeks. He's been phenomenal in terms of cash games. Still only 2,900 because can we just name Kyle Pitts the Mirage? Can that just be his nickname from now on? Kyle the Mirage Pitts. You were supposed to be this great thing, and I don't think it's his fault. I really don't. This is a coaching and quarterback issue. No player in the league has seen more off-target throws than Kyle Pitts. He's a mirage. As long as Ritter is the quarterback and as long as old Art's calling the plays, Kyle Pitts is just a mirage. Get him on the Chiefs. No. Get him on any team that would throw the ball to a tight end, because if he plays on the Chiefs, he's going to play behind. He'd still have better stats because he'd be better than Noah Gray. No love for Henry. Henry's fine. Like I said, there's a lot of running backs. There's so many running backs. Look, let's start all the way to the top. Remember, this is a 10-game slate, okay? There's only 10 games on this slate. Saquon Barkley coming back from injury against Miami, he could do fine, but it's not the place I'm going. It's not like Miami's not leaky against running backs. They've given up some big gainers and a high average yards per carry. But like Bijan Robinson getting more than enough volume, and the perfect DraftKings volume is he has not had a game under 5 targets yet. Watch him have like 3 this week. But on a per play basis, an EPA per play, you know that playing at home, they're going to establish the hell out of it. 20 plus opportunities probably incoming, and touchdown upside against Houston, who's an extremely leaky defense. Derrick Henry up against Indy had a fantastic game last Sunday, 27 points, including a passing touchdown. Still has the big playability, still has the burst they used to have, was dealing with turf toe, seems to be all right now. Only 7,500 for him. We had the return of Jonathan Taylor to practice. We'll see how that goes. Tons of volume with Kyron Williams at home. We know that they're going to try to establish it. Whether or not they can sustain, I don't know, but the games that they have played from behind, it's not like he's coming off the field a ton, so you're just not getting as many carries. You're getting more targets for somebody like Kyron Williams. I don't foresee him being at a high percentage. I think he's going to probably float between 8 and 12%, so he might be a voluminous way to get different with your lineups at running back, but no running back's going to run away with it this week in terms of like 40 or 50% of the field, because there's so many good plays. David Montgomery, 5-box running back, tons of volume at home favored. Joe Mixon on the road, but going to get a ton of volume against an Arizona defense that can't stop running backs. Alvin Kamara in his first game back, though they are playing against a slow, sloggy team like New England, they're somewhat of a slow, sloggy team themselves. 14 targets in his first game, even though it only went for like 33 yards. I don't foresee him. I'm going to take the under on 14 targets, but like 6 to 8 targets certainly in play for Alvin Kamara. So at 6,300, he is also fine. If you wanted to pivot off of what is going to be the Achane chalk, as I believe he is going to be the 1A this week, even Raheem Mostert as the 1B, if he is that, as I am predicting, there's still going to be more than enough volume for him. Ignore the Buffalo game. They got throttled in this one. But look at the volume here against New England. Look at the pass game volume against Denver. Like, he's fine, and he definitely carries with him big game and big playability. Achane is going to be the guy that I think is going to take over the lead. Again, ignore the volume from the week 4 matchup. I think he gets that 20 opportunities, probably 15 carries, 5 targets every single game moving forward. And then splitting carries maybe 60% of the snaps for Achane, 40% of the snaps for Mostert, which is what I'm projecting. Whether or not I'm right remains to be seen. Swift against the Rams. He's been really good, but the Rams defense has been good also. $6K for him. James Conner against Cincinnati, who has not been good. Touchdown upside. He's the only show in town right now. I'd love to see them throw the ball more to him, but Dobbs tends to look towards the outside and not to his running backs. Madison is super sneaky. Nobody wants to play him. Nobody wants to play Alex Madison, but he's done nothing but get a ton of volume and was extremely efficient last week in the return of Cam Akers, where he played way more of the snaps. Now faces a tougher Kansas City defense, but a big game shootout. And if you're going to stack players from that game, you're going to have to get different. So finding ways to go, because I think that a lot of people are going to be on Isaiah Pacheco coming off the massive game he had against the Jets last week, getting more usage and more consistent usage in the pass game than he has at any time last year. If he gets 3 targets a game and gets 20 opportunities on average a game, 5,700 is far too cheap and should probably be priced more like 7,200. So he's a massive value against a team that can't stop anything. Ramondre, not really thrilled. Javonte, I hope he sits out, to be honest with you. Not because I'm being selfish for like saying, okay, I want Jaleel McLaughlin to be on the slate, but like, he's dealing with coming back from knee reconstruction surgery. You've limited his usage the first 3 games of the year. He got hurt in week 4 with what doctors were calling a compensatory injury, meaning he's compensating for the ACL reconstruction and he hurt something else. Let him sit for a week. If he sits for a week, that really opens up Jaleel McLaughlin against the Jets defense in terms of volume. I think he would split snaps 50-50 with Samaje Perine, but this is why running back is a replaceable position in the NFL. You have guys. Jaleel McLaughlin is not a guy who cannot run the football. Jaleel McLaughlin is the NCAA all-time leading rusher. He may not fit all the measurables at a combine. He may be too short. He may not be heavy enough. His shuttle time might be a little bit lower. His burst and whatever might not be the match of somebody who's like Saquon Barkley level athlete or Bijan Robinson athlete. But if you put the football in his hands and say, go that way, he's good at that. Extremely good at that. And that's all you really needed to position. And I think that in a fill-in spot with a good sort of schemed offense that is putting points on the board against a Jets team that has kind of struggled a little bit, he can get some things done if he gets the volume. I think 15 opportunities in play for him if the player ahead of him sits out, if Javonte sits out. And then the guy that everybody wants to play, because Coach Robert Saleh said that he was on a pitch count for the first 4 weeks of the season, but he is no longer on a pitch count now. So all the Breece Hall fan club thinks he's going to get 30 touches this week against Denver. And if he does get 30 touches against Denver, he's going to smash. I don't think he's going to get 30 touches. I think you might get 15 to 20 opportunities max. And 18, let's say 17 and a half, 17, 18 opportunities. If you get that with as explosive as Breece is, already an 83-yard run, a 20-yard catch, a 43-yard run, his big playability right now is what's carrying him. If he gets more opportunities, that's more opportunities at big gainers. Yeah, as Chat just said, he might house one. And yeah, it could happen. So more opportunities is a good thing, but like, pump the brakes on your expectations. If he gets more than 17, 18 opportunities, you are dancing in the streets. But this is also not a game that is a done deal. They're not at home. They're not favored by like 10 points. This may not project as a game where they have to run the football, and we're banking on a big gainer from him. And if it happens, great. But if it doesn't, and what if he gets 15 opportunities and as long as 20, like, there's a lot of running backs out there. There's a lot of running backs out there. A lot. More than most weeks, and specifically more than weeks where there are only 10 games on the slate and Chad is dino dancing. 100% you smell a smash this week. Look, I want to fill you guys in. Those are all the running backs that I think are really solid this week. And on the cheat sheet, I typically limit to like 5 because I don't want to be... People do this on the top stacks video to me all the time in the comments, right? Like, I noticed you didn't mention this stack. The whole point is that I'm trying to limit myself and talk about only like 5 players. That's why there's 5 players under 5. That's why there's 5 top stacks. That's why I limit myself to try and give you the 5 best plays, I think, from a point per dollar and ceiling expectation on the cheat sheet every week at running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Because otherwise, like, well, you just like I can't talk about 20 quarterbacks on a 10-game slate as top stacks. That's not top. That's all stacks. So I want to kind of limit to the ones I think have the highest floor plus ceiling possibility on top of everything. There are 20 stacks to talk about. Of course. See, YouTube, how good is this Dino Dance? How good is Dino Dance? Dino Dance is amazing. What QB stack would I pivot off of Goff stacks if ASB does not play? I mean, I don't think that Goff is a guy that I wanted to play in single entry anyway. So it's not like he's the main stack that I'd be pivoting off of. And there's more than enough guys that you could go to, right? If you want to buy the Burrow value, 6,200 is extremely cheap. Yes, he still has 300-yard upside. Yes, I understand if you're sick of playing him and losing. But you're going to get a situation in this game in particular. 1, they face a pretty soft defense. 2, Higgins has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday. We'll monitor for the Friday practice report. As always, if Higgins doesn't play, don't play him. I'm expecting that with a broken rib, he's not going to play. They've already dealt with enough injury issues, and forcing a guy back too early, like Joe Burrow, or listening to a player said, I'm ready and put me in there. So Jamar Chase going to see 30% of the target market share, assuming that Higgins is out. Also, Tyler Boyd should maintain this level of target market share at only 4,500. We might get something from the tight end. I'm not going to pontificate where the tight ends are. I do think that the Croc Hunter is going to play a little bit more, get more snaps on the outside. I just don't see anywhere else that they're going to really be able to go unless we get Andre by a vowel to, there's too many vowels in this name. Can we get him a consonant? He needs more consonants. He definitely needs more content. But like plenty of cheap plays, and a lot of people are going to go with Joe Mixon. So like the Burrow doubles are kind of a leverage play off of that. I'd prefer Dobbs doubles and bring it back with Chase if you wanted to get the highest dollar amount. But I think that that's going to be somewhat popular, and you're going to need that value to really smash and wrap around it something somewhere else to make it really work. Quarterbacks at that price range, I think Stafford stacks are sneaky, because they aren't cheap. Stafford's cheap. He's 5,600. But like, 1, people are going to say you can't play Stafford stacks because Philly is, too good of a defense. And they're not wrong. Philly's a tremendous defense, right? They get a lot of pressure. 2 sacks, 2 sacks, 2 sacks, 5 sacks. But because they play from ahead a lot, they've allowed 258 passing yards, 346 passing yards, and 306 passing yards. This 306 to New England is shocking. 258 to Washington. It's not like they're not giving up points. 31, 28, 20. I said before the season, and people tried to get after me about it, I said Philadelphia is going to be a good defense and their front 7 is tremendous, but like, I don't think that they're going to be as dominant a defense as they were last season. And guess what? Through 4 weeks, they aren't. They're still fearsome. They're a very good defense, but they're not like you're only going to score 10 points and avoid playing players against them. So with Cooper Kupp expected to make his season debut this weekend, we need to find out, or we need to guess, because you may not find out because Sean McVay's a liar historically. So you have to make that decision. Is Cooper Kupp, if they run 70 plays this weekend, is Cooper Kupp going to play 65 offensive snaps, 45 offensive snaps, or 20 offensive snaps? Because if it's on that lower end, then Tutu Atwell is not going to be played by nearly enough people. He's done nothing but get you like 9 targets a game, and has had plays schemed for him in the red zone. You remember the 2 plays that one got called back and one he got tackled on the 1-yard line? And Puka Nacua has been an absolute revelation so far, as everybody knows. This is an extremely expensive way to get up here that nobody else kind of wants to go to. And we know that the floor upside combo is solid. And is there anybody on the other side you could bring it back with? I mean, we might be able to find somebody. It's very possible that you could get somebody on the other team that you might want to bring it back with. Hell, tight end bringbacks are extremely high leverage. And if you think that the game goes off, the tight end gets dragged along. Or if you think they play from ahead, then DeAndre Swift is there at 6K. There's a lot of ways to get to this Rams stack, and based on roster construction and the projections that I've seen so far this week, it looks like a non-desirable stack. And because it's a non-desirable stack to the public is exactly why we need to explore it as players who desire to be advantage DFS players. That's why I like this video. It's one of my favorite videos of the week. Hell, it's one of my 6 favorite videos that I put out on the main channel. It's one of my favorite videos of the week because I actually get to delve and dive into, the full reasons why I am liking something or avoiding something else, so that you, the viewer, can actually get all of my thoughts on a subject, which I can't really do that with the amount of replies that come in and in Discord. It's like I try to be in Discord a lot, but like obviously it's not 24-hour office hours for me. So I try on this video to give you all of the thoughts that I have on a thing. Can't wait for the cheat sheet. Cheat sheet, if you're watching this video on YouTube, it is out. If you are not watching this video, it is not out yet. If you're watching on Twitch, it's not out yet. It's done, but I got to upload it after we record this video. By the time it's on YouTube, it's out. You guys want to go over to Underdog? You guys want to go to Underdog and do the thing? With Tua stacks, is there anyone outside of Waller that could be a bring back? I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson is probably going to be the highest owned value play at wide receiver on the weekend. He's 3K. He's going to get 6-7 targets every single game. They're easily convertible targets because they're low ADOT targets, low average depth of targets. Did Atlanta play too slow for Stroud stacks? No. Can you imagine if Chicago would have been on the main slate? What if Fields more? Oh, yeah. And Kmet got a touchdown, and Mooney was open twice. And like one was he was interfered with, and they didn't call it in the end zone. And another one, he took a stupid route on the opening drive. Like, that whole offense, I told you that Chicago is facing, they started last week. They opened up this really soft spot in their schedule. And I forget which week I did a buy low video, a short for the shorts content. For those of you who like shorts content on YouTube, I put out a lot of shorts content. I do a buy sell video, buy low, sell high. Fields was a buy low for me after going into that week with Kansas City because nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted to get him. I said he's about to enter, starting the week after Kansas City, an extremely soft 6-7 week part of his schedule. He's in week 2 of that. Fields could potentially continue to go off for the next month after this. So let's take a look over at Underdog Fantasy. I want to do a pick 'em. I'm getting rid of some of these games. I'm not going to do some of these games. I'm getting rid of them. Let's go over to Underdog Fantasy. And if you have not taken advantage of the free $100 that you have waiting for you over on Underdog for your first deposit to the site, when you use promo code ALSMIZZLE, ALSMIZZLE, you get up to a $100 deposit bonus, your first deposit to the site that you can use on these pick'ems. 100K Sundays, Baltimore against Pittsburgh. Well, we got this one too. Should we just go with this one? Take the freebie, right? What is the max on this? There's a max that I can bet on this, and it's not $100 is the problem. It's probably 20, I think. We'll figure it out. Let's scroll down here to some of the more fun games, right? Chuba. I kind of feel like Chuba is the good bet in this situation because Miles Sanders still in, where if Miles Sanders gets ruled out, all of these are too low. Mingo, no, I don't want any of these. Jahmyr Gibbs, no, I definitely don't want to bet on Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's go over half a touchdown for David Montgomery. He needs to score 1 touchdown. Let's go. Where else should we go? Chat, any ideas? Where should we go? All the Rams receiving lines are off the board because they can't figure out what to do with Kupp. I'm going to go higher than 78 receiving yards, 78.5. Let's do a pick 5 here. We're going to do all 5. What do I have now? 3. I need 2 more. Zach Ertz, higher than 29.5 receiving yards. Easy volume. And give me higher than 53. I'm going to go. There we go. We got a bunch of Arizona value here for $20. Submit that 5 correct pay. This is the max 20 because of the freebie that they give you. Gives me up to $400. Boom. Submit. Confirm. Bang. Take advantage of your free $100 over on Underdog Fantasy today. Mixon touchdown. Damn, I missed that one. We'll have to do another one later. Pollard yards. Fair. Boyd overs, Wan'Dale catches. Yeah, see, there's so many fun things that you could do. I know that lowers are sharper. I just I want to root for fun football, and I don't want to root for punts and field goals because that's stupid. Like, I won a lot of money in week 3, but it was so painful having to anti-sweat for 3.5 hours because I had no player minutes remaining. I'm just hoping for punts. That's the worst way to watch football. Now, granted, after the slate ended and there's zeros on the clock, you feel pretty good. But God, those 3.5 hours are hell. Lions stacks, just as a standalone comment. Got it. There's always a 50% chance in pick'ems. It's true. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. That's it. It's a 50-50 chance. Probability is different, though. Probability might be 5%, but you're either going to win or you're going to lose. So I got a 50-50 shot at this. Do I still enter the Millionaire Maker? Yes. 150 lineups every single week. Wilson Hall stack. It's cheap enough, I guess, but like if I'm going to stack the quarterback, I'm probably going to do it with 2 pass catchers. I think that Breece Hall is somebody who's going to carry a good percentage on him this weekend, and I think it might be somebody who, wherever he is projected right now, go to whatever projection site you use. Okay, this is a project for chat right now. Go to the projection site that you use, and I want you guys to type in, because I have an aggregated one with a whole lot of different projections, but I want to know on the site that you look at, where is Breece Hall sitting right now? I don't care about what site it is. You don't have to name it. Just tell me where Breece Hall is at running back right now. Because I have him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th highest played running back. He is projecting, give me just a second, projecting at 11.5%. There's no way he's going to be 11.5%. People are going to really run to him, in my opinion. I think he could end up at like 20 by the time the weekend gets here. I think that by the weekend, he could be that guy that kind of gets steamed up. That guy that could just, you know what? He makes lineups work. Unless news breaks and things change and like we get Chuba Hubbard and we get McLaughlin and we get other players, you know, that like I feel like he could get moved up the board in terms of players that get like I have him behind Isaiah Pacheco, Kyron Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara. People, he's the new trendy name. He's the toy. He's the one that everybody drafted. He's the one that people want to be right about. There's emotion involved with Breece Hall, where there's very little emotion in Kyron Williams, little emotion in Isaiah Pacheco, no emotion in Ramondre Stevenson, no emotion in Alvin Kamara. People want to play Breece Hall. They need to play Breece Hall. They talk about things like breakout runs, EPA per play. These are things they talk about at parties. So if you want to know what I think about Breece Hall, you got to ask me nicely. Yeah, there's a few good running backs on this slate. How do I get invited to these parties? Yeah, if it was anybody, and like Denver is the perfect matchup. Denver also, we need to be careful. We need to be careful with defense versus position, okay? Specifically when it's a small sample size. Usually that's isolated to tight end, right? Tight end, some teams feature it, some teams don't. Where like if you have 3 straight weeks where you play Sam Laporta, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, if that team plays those 3 teams, they're going to look really bad on defense versus position because a whole lot of volume goes to the tight end for those teams, as opposed to other teams like you saw that typically throw the ball 4 times a game to their tight end. If you play 3 teams, like if you play Miami and, you know, I don't know, 2 other teams that don't use the tight end very often, you're going to look a lot better in DVP. Even though you might suck at defense versus tight ends, your linebackers can't cover in space. You just didn't play a team that highlighted that position. And so Denver, while they are not a good defense, please do not mistake that I am telling you that Denver is a good defense, because they're not. But on the season, they're allowing 176 yards per game to opposing running backs. They have also allowed a metric ton of touchdowns to the position, right? Very easily found if anybody looks at that, or if they look at defense versus position, opposing running back stats, or rushing yards allowed, ESPN, whatever. But they gave up 350 and 8 touchdowns in one game. That's kind of screwing up the curve. So if you take this game out, right, against Miami, and you take the low game out against Las Vegas, where they did stifle the running game for the Raiders, you're looking at like 140 yards a game, 145 yards a game. It's still a lot, but like the touchdown upside is being throttled. And these are quarterback rush yards too, you know? specifically to the running back position, they are better than what they look like because this game against Miami is blowing everything out of proportion. So yes, they're a defense that I want to target, but don't expect like we just do a whole lot of whatever, you know? Who's a cheap D this week? The Saints are right in the middle. They're 3K. They're fine. How do I feel about Pittman this week? I always like wide receivers against Tennessee. You think people may fade him? Yeah, he's not going to be highly played. Yeah, Amon-Ra is not practicing. We knew that coming into the stream. We already talked about that. Yeah, Tennessee is a pass funnel. So like playing players against Tennessee will result, specifically wide receivers against Tennessee, should result in an inflated target total than what they typically get. But projections are already factoring that in. So don't double count things. Don't double count things that are bad, like wide receiver cornerback matchup. That's already been counted in whatever projections. If you're using any projection set that is worth its, weight, those things have already been counted. And so don't double count them. And by the same token, don't double count, well, it's a pass funnel, so they haven't projected here, but I'm going to boost it. Well, it's already been boosted in the projection. Could Tennessee be a sneaky defense? Yeah, because any defense against rookie quarterbacks, any defense that can get pressure, and the fact that I think that they have done I don't want to say a good job, but the Colts have done something I was not totally expecting them to do, which is throw the ball a lot with Anthony Richardson. Mixon or Hall for what? Like the context is necessary. So like for cash games, Mixon. For tournaments, both are fine, but I'd probably prefer Hall, but I don't know that he's necessary because there's so many other players. And I think that Hall ends up 15 to 20%, not at the 11 to 13 that he's being projected now. I think he's going to become the more popular play as the next 2 days go along. So like, there you go. Tennessee is projected to be the highest owned defense. There you have it. Defenses against rookie quarterbacks typically do well. Do I like Stroud and Cash? No, probably not. Did I post a cheat sheet? Not yet. Soon. Any darts on Kansas City wide receivers? All cheap. I'll end with this. The cheap wide receivers are very much abound this week. There's a lot of them, just like there's been a lot of them most weeks, but a few of them seem to be standing out. Mims Jr. needs to get more run. Whether he will or not, I don't know. He needs to get more run. He is strictly a tournament play until. Downs is getting a ton of snaps. His targets are kind of yo-yoing, but against a pass funnel defense, 3,700, and nobody's going to play him. Nobody's going to play him because of three things. One, Michael Wilson coming off of a 7-target, 2-touchdown game at 3,700 against Cincinnati. Great for secondary stacks. Everybody's going to jump on Rashee Rice at 3,600 because they want to get pieces of this Chiefs-Minnesota game cheaply. Westbrook Ikine, assuming that Burks is still out, has a solid floor of targets for the price and is a quality professional wide receiver at this point. And then all the way at the bottom, Wan'Dale Robinson, who is perpetually questionable. 6 targets and 5 targets in his first 2 games back. He has a really solid floor. He has the ability to break a long play, but he's got to do it all by himself because he's not going to have a long A-dot where he's not going to cover it in air yards where you're getting chunks through the air. They're all like around the line of scrimmage, but those are extremely easily convertible into catches. He is probably going to be the most popular cash game wide receiver at 3,000 because of everything else that he opens up on the slate. So I wanted to thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you watching the videos. Go join the Discord. The cheat sheet is up. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.